Every paycheck tells a hidden story. The hours you've worked, the effort you've put in, and the number that shows up in your bank account. But before you ever see it, part of your earnings is already spoken for, claimed by the federal government. That deduction is called income tax. Whether you earn a little or a lot, it touches nearly every American. It's not just a line on your pay stub, it's the foundation of how the U.S. funds itself. From Social Security checks for retirees to soldiers' salaries, from disaster relief to federal highways, those withheld dollars keep the nation running. For Washington, income taxes are lifeblood, steady, reliable, indispensable. But for everyday citizens, they can feel like a weight, a reminder that less of your hard work is truly yours. This isn't just about numbers. It's about power, priorities, and choices. Because every dollar collected is a dollar. Washington decides how to spend. And every dollar you lose shapes the life you can afford. In this video, we'll break it down. Where Washington gets its money, where those trillions go, and how your share is calculated. Because behind every paycheck lies the story of a nation. And of you. Every year, trillions pour into Washington. But where does it all actually come from? The backbone of the U.S. budget is individual income taxes, the money taken directly from your paycheck or filed each April. They account for nearly half of all federal revenue, roughly $2 trillion last year alone. Whether you're a teacher in Ohio or an engineer in California, those withheld dollars keep the government alive. Next are payroll taxes, the funds earmarked for Social Security and Medicare. Together, they make up about a third of revenue. You see them on your pay stub as FICA. These dollars guarantee that retirees, disabled Americans, and seniors receive benefits. Without them, the safety net would collapse overnight. Then come corporate taxes. Once a dominant funding source, they now provide under 10% of revenue, shrunk by loopholes, cuts, and global competition. Finally, there are the smaller streams. Excise taxes on gas, alcohol, and tobacco, customs duties and tariffs, estate taxes, and more. Important, but they're only a sliver compared to what individuals contribute. The takeaway? Your paycheck is Washington's lifeline. While corporate and excise taxes grab headlines, the federal government depends overwhelmingly on ordinary Americans. So, what happens after Washington collects your tax dollars? Think of every federal dollar as a pie. The largest slices go to healthcare and Social Security, together nearly half of the entire budget. These dollars ensure seniors can see doctors, and 70 million Americans receive monthly checks. Next is defense, about 15 cents of every dollar. Bases, troops, weapons, and veterans' benefits, all fueled by your taxes. Then there's infrastructure and education, highways, bridges, federal aid for schools. Surprisingly, they get less than 10 cents of that dollar, even though they're what most of us see daily. And don't forget interest on the national debt, now larger than the education budget. Every borrowed dollar of the past becomes today's taxpayer bill. So when you pay taxes, you're not just funding government. You're paying for hospitals, pensions, highways, and aircraft carriers. Here's where confusion begins. Progressive tax brackets. The more you earn, the higher the rate, but you don't pay the top rate on all your income. Example, a worker earning $50,000 pays 10% on the first chunk, 12% on the next, and only a small slice at 22%. Someone making $150,000 pays across multiple brackets, 10%, 12%, 22%, 24%, and 32% on just the top slice. This is the difference between your marginal tax rate, the rate on your last dollar, and your effective tax rate, your average. Many think, I'm in the 24% bracket. In reality, their effective rate is closer to 18%. Think of it like climbing stairs. Each step you take is a higher rate, but you only pay that rate while you're on that step, not on the entire climb. The brackets set the structure. Deductions and credits decide the final bill. Most taxpayers choose the standard deduction, about $14,600 for singles and $29,200 for couples. Itemizing allows expenses like mortgage interest, medical bills, or charitable donations. Then there are credits, even more powerful than deductions. The child tax credit can cut thousands directly from your tax bill. The Earned Income Tax Credit helps low and moderate income workers, sometimes creating refunds larger than what they paid. The result? Two families earning the same income can owe very different amounts. Who really carries the weight? The top 1% pay about 40% of all income taxes. Supporters call it proof the system is progressive, but the middle class feels squeezed. They don't pay the highest rates, but they lack loopholes and accountants. For families earning $50K, $150K, every deduction matters, and tax season feels like a squeeze. At the bottom, many low-income households owe little and may even receive more back through credits. Critics argue this shifts the burden upward. So, is the system fair? Or does it punish the middle, caught between too poor for loopholes and too rich for credits? Most Americans play straight. The wealthy and corporations, different rules. Corporations like Amazon or Netflix sometimes pay little or no federal tax, thanks to legal write-offs for R&D, stock options, or depreciation. Wealthy individuals often pay lower rates by living off investments. Capital gains are taxed at 15–20%, far less than wages. A billionaire investor can face a lower rate than a firefighter. Tax havens shelter profits offshore, legal, but out of reach for the average worker. The result? Ordinary taxpayers feel they're following one playbook, while the wealthy follow another. Taxes aren't just math. Their ideology. Democrats push higher taxes on the wealthy, arguing the rich should fund expanded programs. Republicans argue for lower taxes and smaller government, framing relief as the path to growth. From Reagan's cuts, to Bush's tax plans, to Trump's 2017 reforms, to Biden's current policies, every presidency rewrites the story. For voters, April 15th isn't just tax day. It's a reminder of who won the last political fight. Let's demystify your tax bill. 1. Start with gross income, say $60,000. 2. Subtract deductions. Standard deduction drops taxable income to $46,000. 3. Apply brackets. Each slice taxed differently. Effective rate, 14%. 4. Subtract credits. Child tax credit, earned income credit. These can shrink the bill further. Refunds? Not free money. They mean you overpaid during the year. Owing means you underpaid. Your share is arithmetic, but it determines how much of your paycheck fuels Washington. For families, taxes aren't theory. They're lived reality. Refunds often cover essentials, paying bills, fixing the car, catching up on debt. For small businesses, tax season is survival. Quarterly payments and penalties if miscalculated. And then the fairness debate. Middle-class families see themselves carrying the system, while the wealthy minimize their share. At its core, the tax system isn't just about numbers, it's about trust. Do Americans believe their money comes back as opportunity and security? Compared globally, America pays less, but gets less. Germany. Higher taxes but free college and universal health care. Scandinavia, 40–50% tax rates, but citizens get child care, pensions, health care. U.S., lower income taxes but higher personal bills, student debt, medical costs, retirement insecurity. And complexity. Most countries auto-file taxes. Americans spend billions of hours just trying to calculate what they owe. The trade-off: lower taxes, fewer services, more private burden. At the end of the day, income tax is more than a deduction. It's the fuel that runs America, from pensions to highways to defense. But frustration runs deep. The wealthy have accountants, corporations shift profits, and the middle wonders if they're carrying too much. Every tax dollar tells a story, not just about revenue, but about values. Every dollar you pay is a kind of vote. For schools, for healthcare, for the kind of country we live in. Here at Politics Unpacked, we'll keep peeling back the layers. Clear, fact first, no spin. Subscribe and join us as we unpack the choices that shape your wallet and your future.